All right, I believe we're live. We're live and going here. Running just a few minutes shy. It's having a challenge getting that up. But what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? There it is. We're in our Thursday session. And I hope you guys are having an excellent week. It is the 4th of 5 days for this week. And the last 2 days we were talking about the price of healthcare, the price of fitness, of nutrition, of leading a quote unquote healthier lifestyle. That was our content for the last 2 days. And so we're finishing up today with why do we not press forward? Why do we not do the things that we want to do in our health and fitness when we definitely can, when we might even know that we can, when we are far beyond able to do so, and there's still just something that gets in the way. So we'll be covering that today. I just want to do a few announcements for our regular live stream. One, what is this about? The reason why we did this was to provide an extra layer of accountability for our current clients. So checking with us on a regular basis. Now 7 o'clock is our time, possibly dinner time. So we may not be connecting with people at our time zone. But we have clients who are in Mountain Standard Time, Central Standard Time, and on the East Coast too. We service all across the United States with Project Fresh, and we're talking to individuals all across the United States. I'm originally from Idaho. I went to school in Chicago. I now live here on the West Coast, and I have ties in the East Coast. So we are a company that our focus is to service whoever we come into contact with, who finds our assistance, our programming, our products and services valuable and needed, and is ready to take that journey on, take that challenge on of improving itself primarily and specifically in their lifestyle. And the way in which we do that is we coach fresh. Our model is fresh: fitness and finances, recreation recreation and relationships, education in the areas that we're talking about, and more. We're getting educated, so we're sharing with you our journey and that education piece. That is something we push and work on very specifically. Right now, I'm getting educated in myself in this season. This time of COVID, of sheltered in place, has really provided an opportunity to be more self-aware and forced me to slow down to do so, because I'm usually the type that's like I'm just lightning fast with everything. So this season is slowing me down, and I'm starting to become thankful for it. It's hard because I want to go fast, but that's my current education, is being more aware of myself, learning myself since December more specifically. Sanctity, so soul and spiritual health, and then the H for fresh is the overall health category. So kind of that filler in, because there are multiple facets of health. It is not just in the first four that we gave. I think everyone is seeking health in all areas. There is an ideal lifestyle that you desire, because that lifestyle would directly correlate to the life that you would live, right? So whether it is business or relationships, giving, or getting out there and just absolutely uh, living a free life, maybe travel, maybe something that you've had an idea of that you want to do for the longest time, excuse me, and you need the lifestyle to do it, whatever it may be. Our goal as your coach, as your team, your support team, is to assist you in building that lifestyle so you can go out there and live the life you desire to live. And we think also, based on what's coming out of you, everything that was built into you that would create that life you were designed for, would be the experience you deserve to have, because that's why you were created. So anything that would be having you do anything else other than that, well, we need some work. We need to do some work. And a lot of people, I think, we'll leave it here. A lot of people, I think, run away from, what they desire or what they were built to do. Could be fear. It could be programming from the parents or society, or or circumstances growing up. It could be a lot of different things, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I talk to a lot of people who say no to themselves. If you're a let's just say I was completely and totally untrained in doing business on the phone back in April, had very little, if any, experience. And what I've learned over the last 6 months, I don't know too much, but what I have learned is that people don't say no to you, they say no to themselves. And a lot of times in those close, intimate relationships, people are saying no to themselves in whatever it is they need to do, whatever it is they need to address. And in so doing, they end up harming us and saying no. And it's really tough. It really is. It can be to not grow self, to not the one thing I get right now is, Ryan, focus on doing the best you can to grow yourself. In this case, in the context of my faith, according to the word of God, grow yourself according to what you do know. In that you may not know everything, you may know very little, but do the best you can to focus on the things that you can control to grow self, and through that, everything else will get addressed. Everything else will effectively fall in line, or at least hopefully it will. Because you could work on self. You could level up in current vernacular. You could become so much better for yourself, but things around you may not change. So that's another thing is, why are we looking to change? Maybe we'll get into that before the end of today, but that's what we focus on in a nutshell. Our primary service and products are fitness and nutrition, accountability, mindset coaching, health, wealth, attractability, or attraction, rather, not attractability, but attraction, and just getting into those areas where, for whatever reason, we know what we want to do, we won't know what we want to accomplish, and for some reason, life keeps getting in the way. There's a common denominator that keeps moving us backwards after we've moved forwards, and it's a yo-yo effect. It's take 3 steps forward, take 4 steps back, take 5 steps forward, take 4 back, 3 forward, 4 back, and you're just kind of walking the same little patch of trail, losing your mind, wanting to move forward, wanting to see some different scenery, and just not having it happen. It's like, the lake is, I'm from Idaho. I grew up in the woods, so this analogy is it's just worked for me. You're on the trail, there's nothing but trees on both sides, forest around you, but that lake is coming up. And the second you clear the trees and you get into the lake, there's going to be that beautiful tall mountain in the background that just perfectly casts a shadow of itself over the lake. And the water is that nice, clear blue, and you just happen to see a nice big old fish jump out. I love fishing. Like I said, I grew up in the woods. Don't let my skin color fool you. I am not the type that is afraid of outdoors. I'm not the type that's not into getting out there in the outdoors. There are Black people who love to go camping, fishing, hiking. That was my upbringing, and the outdoors is amazing. I remember, I'll say this really quickly and I'll get back to what I was saying. I shared with someone that I've gone fishing, and they're like, they were an urbanite from, I can't remember where they were from, if they were somewhere in the Midwest or Texas or something, but definitely, used to the city scene, so no outdoors, no nothing. And they're like, "You fish?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I fish all the time." It's like, "Well, what do you do with the fish after you catch it?" It's like, "Well, you grab it, you pull it off the hook, and you can either throw it back, or if you're going to take it home to eat it, then you clean it." They're like, "What do you mean clean it?" It's like, well, you clean it. You cut at the gills, slice down the belly, clean out all of the internals, and make sure that it's completely washed out all the way, and all the blood for the most part is gone. And then if you want to, you can fillet in the center and open it up. You can do different cuts depending on what your skill set is with a knife. Bake it, fry it, saute it, barbecue it, whatever you want, and you got yourself a nice piece of fish. You can do some potatoes, some salad. Is anybody hungry yet? And you have yourself a nice dinner. And I just remember her just going, "Ugh," like she was just almost like I handed her a fish in her hand. Just, ugh. It was really funny. But anyway, our focus here is to keep you on track, keep you walking down that path keep you walking down that path, that trail, that journey that you're on, so you can get into that clearing. You can see the lake, you see the mountain, or maybe you're walking down an alley and you're looking for a particular building or an opening, a big grand plaza with your friends, or maybe you're, whatever it is that may be the case, you're just going down that road, that path, and you're just looking for that one thing you've been searching for so long that will just be that flip in that flip of the switch, the possibilities that you've been dreaming of now becoming reality. That takes place in developing the lifestyle. And one particular thing that I wanted to address is, why do we not pursue the things that are going to make us experience or have us experience more joy? Or perhaps you're seeking happiness, a byproduct of joy, and that's something that you truly just desire to have, and it's just not coming. For example, the weight loss isn't coming. I've had a few clients, pardon me, who have told me, I know how to lose weight. I was an ex-athlete, or I just know exactly what I need to do as far as exercise and eating that brings my body down to that ideal body. No fat in the midsection. I've got a nice toned look. I look. My body is performing in a healthy manner. Healthy being kind of objective, but most commonly used. My body is looking, feeling, and operating the way I want it to, that makes me comfortable, that addresses my self-esteem, my love for self in a healthy way. I'm not talking about like being conceited or prideful, but just you love yourself. You're in good relationship with yourself. And with that, I get to where I want to be, but then I go on vacation or I get away from whatever my motivator is, and I get back home, and before I know it, a couple of months later, I've got the build around the midsection again. It's getting fatty, starting to not only be able to pinch but grab some fat. My clothes are starting to get tight again, and I'm just not liking how I look. My 10 relationship with myself is now going backwards. I'm going back to a 6 or a 5, or I've talked to individuals who are in that 2-3 range. Um, and I'll say this is that why is it that we yo-yo 5 to 8, 5 to 8, or 7 to 10, 7 to 10, 7? Why does that happen? Why do we yo-yo? And I think that I get a lot of objections, price and my spouse, and um, a lot of different things. The people are ultimately telling themselves no. I've offered my programming to people on the phone for free, and they've said maybe yes, but in a few days, upwards of no more than 2 weeks, they're gone. I don't hear from them again. I'll check in, but that's it. Don't hear back. Why do people, when given an opportunity, because the opportunities are out there, stop and give up on themselves? Why do they not press in? Why do they not press through? Why do they say I'm lacking in motivation? Which motivation is an internal thing. You can be motivated by something externally, but motivation is a internal situation. Why is that? And there's something that, a lot of times I'll let them know. I learn what they're saying. It's like, well, okay, those external things, I totally get it. But at the end of the day, this is for you. It's not, for that other person. It's not for the circumstances you're facing now. If you're truly, truly like schedule, money, whatever else is just not allowing you, affording you the opportunity, then yeah, you got to do what you got to do. But for those who do have that capacity, who do really want it, I think what really happens is that individuals leave that conversation thinking, you know, it's I don't get the chance to speak with them, but I don't think it's that they're afraid to make a decision. I think it's they're afraid to make a decision that they're going to regret later. They're going to make a bad decision or a wrong decision. And what does that bad decision or wrong decision come from? Well, it could be from other people who we've been in experience with, who have tried something, seen it fail. For example, I'm in real estate investing. My wife and I do have an active investment going right now. So we are active investors. Our money is in a deal. It is producing cash flow on a regular basis, and thankfully it's producing more cash flow than what we'd see in a savings account, and maybe even comparatively with a CD, which would be locked up as much as, it's kind of equal time. Anyway, there is a lot of risk associated with real estate investing. And I've talked to a lot of people who have said, I don't know that I want to do that because I've seen Uncle Jim or Aunt Elaine invest, and it went terribly wrong for them, and they were over their head in the money that they owed, or they almost got sued or something like that. So there might be those circumstances. Of course, it's not that kind of risk when it comes to fitness and nutrition, but sometimes we treat it that way. But why? Well, other people might have had experiences. Maybe we've seen our parents who carried extra weight, who tried and tried and tried and tried, and that just kind of imprinted upon us. And maybe it just didn't seem to be a priority in life. For the people around us weren't prioritizing it, so we didn't necessarily pick up on it. Maybe we've tried and tried and tried and tried, and for whatever reason, all the many programs, Weight Watchers and gyms, Jenny Craig's and CrossFits, and all the different options to lose weight, the gizmos and the gadgets and the doohickeys and all those different things, the bells and whistles, the wrap and the thing that contracts your abs, the little like belt slimmer things and all that stuff. They just haven't worked. You haven't burned that last bit of fat. Like nothing has happened for you. Maybe you have your own experience that has prevented you from seeing the success that you want. Now you're afraid to make the next poor decision, the next bad decision. There are some things that get in the way that really do impact this. It could also be your thought life. How are you speaking to yourself? What is your relationship with yourself? Are you an individual, if you stop and think about the conversation you have with yourself, because ultimately we're all speaking to ourselves in one way, shape, or form at some point in the day. We are giving ourselves, or we're feeding into our own feedback loop, right? We are contributing to that as far as what we're doing in life. We are definitely contributing to our feedback loop. We may be pointing someone else out as our main source of, what to do, where to go, what to say, for whatever reasons, yours or theirs, or both. But we do contribute to our feedback loop, to how we're doing, how we're moving in life. So what does that communication look like? I'm going to bring you into my life today. So my wife and I have been looking at a few different things to do, just some extracurricular work, some different things to potentially add on to our skill set, add maybe an additional stream of income, revenue too. And one of the things that we've been talking about is voiceovers. And for the longest time, I've had people tell me I have a nice voice. A lot of times I've told them, well, being the son of a dad or a man who was on the radio for over 20 years, he was a disc jockey for 20 years, KRTK. And so he did the music in our area where I grew up for all that time. And he had quite a voice, somewhat like mine. People loved his voice, and they said that, people would tell me they like my voice, and I'll tell them, oh, well, no surprise. My voice is like my dad's. He was on the radio for 20 years, and they'll say, do you sing? Excuse me. Do you yourself do any DJing or any kind of voiceovers or anything like that? I always say no. I've never really learned how to use my voice, so I don't know. Now, what's interesting is that I've recently discovered that my voice is not my own. That by being compared to my dad so much, it was almost indirectly like it was his, not mine. Like this tone, this sound, what you're hearing right now, this is not mine. It's my dad's. So ownership there was one thing I realized. Then if we don't own anything, we're probably not going to have the same care for it. Like if you've ever heard the analogy of you're a kid and your parents are like, wait until you own your own house, you'll know what it's like. You're going to treat it differently. And then you may have had the chance where now you're growing up, you're adulting, and you own your own house, and now you're treating every square inch much differently than you treated your parents' house, perhaps. I kind of look at it in the same way. Like it's like I haven't claimed it, I haven't considered it mine, so I haven't really even had it. I haven't made a use for it other than to just communicate like I am now. But more importantly, I haven't owned it in the sense of it is mine and it is a gift that I've been given, and it's something that I can cultivate and make better. So voiceovers is something that I'm looking at. My wife asked me, "So what about the voiceovers? Have you, continued that look?" And I said, "Yeah. Well, after looking online where people offer their voiceover services, I've seen a lot of people, older gentlemen specifically, who have a really characteristic voice with what sounds like good sound quality and lots of years of experience." And I was like, "There's so many people in that space. I don't think I could stand out. I don't think that I would have a chance to have anybody hire me to do voiceover work. I don't know how to use my voice, and the competition seems to be, very, very cutthroat. These guys are baller status. They're they're excellent at what they do. How could I compare?" And that's exactly what I told my wife, like almost verbatim. And what I realized is that I am totally cutting myself off before I even give myself an opportunity. And I realized that. And so I decided to do a few voice clips. I just researched some, what would I say, sample voiceovers. I did some Google searching and found some. I'm going to play one of them for you guys. It's a little embarrassing because I'm still working on it. But I want to do all this to give you I want to do all this to give you guys an example of the reason why I think we can do stuff. And by no means am I saying that this is good or bad. It's probably going to sound exactly like me as far as what you're hearing right now. I'm not saying my voice is amazing, and I'm not saying it's not that great either. I mean, there are characteristics of it that make it decent, but there is a journey that I have to learn and to go through here, and that stands on those self-limiting beliefs. So here's a 22-second clip that I recorded of one of those practice voiceovers. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Gold Spotters, the pod all about cutting your teeth and getting noticed in the music biz. Today, we're taking an in-depth look at crafting original cover art that captures both the vibe of your track and who you are as an artist. Plus, I'll teach you how to create a looping visual to enliven your image on streaming platforms. Okay, so there it was. So I don't know how that sounded. You are the first, if you're watching this, to hear it. I'll be sharing it with my wife and maybe one other individual that has encouraged me in my getting on YouTube and utilizing my voice, because he said, "You have a nice speaking voice. Have you considered utilizing it?" So I'll share that video file with those two individuals and see what they say. But again, I wanted to share this example with you guys today because it was solely based on my limiting beliefs. It had to do with my dad and not having ownership of my own voice. And there was a lot of factors that were preventing me or having me think in a way that would totally cut me off from something that could be. Now, do I know where this could take me? Could it provide some serious income that would help offset some expenses, pay down some debts, make it a really reliable and viable scenario for us? I don't know. Maybe, definitely possible. Something I can do. There's nothing physically stopping me from putting my services out there, signing up on, say, Fiverr.com and providing my services for voiceover. Definitely nothing that would stop me from that. And, if I get past myself and I start to believe, my wife is right, I do have a unique voice. There are reasons why people tell me they catch my voice when they talk to me, then perhaps there is something there. But that would first require me to start to buy into that and to not believe my own limiting beliefs, which are, yeah, the space isn't there, my voice isn't really that unique, and I just don't see it happening. Telling myself no before I even give myself a try. And perhaps I have tried something like that before and failed, or I just don't believe it's going to work in general, whatever it may be. I want to liken this back to getting fit, getting the nutrition taken care of, staying accountable to the goals in that realm. That can very much stem from beliefs. I've tried, and here I am again. My work life is truly too busy. My income just cannot support the situation. And perhaps you, again, I said this yesterday, perhaps you literally have $0 in your bank account. The cards are tapped out. There's no space or capacity whatsoever for you to make a move financially. Totally understand that. But I'm speaking very specifically to those who can afford the Louis Vuitton $200 bag or the Michael Jordan $200 shoes, or even something less intrusive to getting into your pocketbook. I trust me, I've had people get into mine. It's not fun. But I want to give this example. I want to love on you in a way that says, hey, I really truly care about you. And I want you to, at the very end of the day, if you even stop watching, unsubscribe, even leave me a nasty gram on YouTube, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But I want to get in your business just for a second to say, if you do have that income, maybe that $5 at Starbucks, because we all know they're still open, that $5 at that fast food restaurant. One client I asked who said, hey, I don't have any money at all. And I said, okay, well, you literally have zero? It's like, oh no, I don't know, it was like maybe 200, 300 or something like that. So, okay, well, what is in that budget that you have right now that you can afford that you can afford to live without? And it ended up being something like coffee or something along those lines. I said, all right, so for the next 2 weeks, what do you think, or what do you spend on that coffee? Let's say it's food. Let's say it's, let's just say it's like $8. How many times do you spend that $8 on a weekly basis? Um, 3 times. All right, so 3 times a week. So we do eight. 8 times 3. Okay, 24. And I was going to check in with her in 2 weeks. So I said, okay, 24 times 2. That's $48. So if we replace you sending over $48 to, $48 to us to be your coach, to support you through everything we said we would support you, would you be willing to part with that drink those 6 days so that you can continue to focus on your goals with us for these next 2 weeks? And she said yes. And she's been getting after it. She is now this particular client. It's exciting because I want to talk about her. I want to share her experience and her story, and I hope to have her testimonial on her YouTube and Facebook soon. But I'll just say this because I don't want to make it too specific. She has gotten into some sizing for clothes that she's never been in her entire life, like not even since she was a kid, if I understand correctly. That was exciting. I was so happy for her that she's now starting to get into that place and space where she's moving towards her ideal body. And she's doing it with disbelief. Like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, even in the context of body composition, I'm this certain weight, but I'm still losing size. What's happening? Well, we're doing things that would help her do that. And that's what would work for anyone's body. I won't necessarily get into the specifics of that. That's just an example of, if you really truly do have some space in your finances, some space in your time to go after your fitness, your nutrition, and staying accountable to that, I strongly encourage you to do it because at the end of the day, it's worth it. And even if you have to pinch the pennies for many days, I mean, if you got to go 2, 3 years to pinch those pennies just to make $10 happen, so be it. I totally get it. I've been there. I grew up with no money. My parents were on food stamps, and I didn't find out till later, growing up as a kid. We lived in a house that we could afford, but unfortunately, the age and the construction of the house and what happened after it rained, there was so much mold on the back of the walls. Me and my brother still suffer from nasal-related challenges from time to time. I'm always sniffing all the time. Plus a couple of impacts from my little brother in the head. He just being right behind him and getting his head going back in my nose totally jacked it up. But anyway, another story for another day. Yeah, so I know what it is to live without anything. Being a college student, going to a very expensive college, having to work 2 jobs while also getting an engineering degree. I know what it takes, and I know what it's like to have very little. To go into a store and be like, man, I need to get some body soap and some contact solution. I wear contacts, and that's the end of my money, or get some food. What do I do? Do I see? Do I eat? Do I see? Do I eat? And literally, like, that was the kind of decisions I had to make. So I know what that's like. And by no means am I saying that you should jump out there and spend your last dime on your fitness. But what I am saying is, if it truly is your season to lose that weight, get in shape, burn belly fat, tone up, build that muscle, start to gain that confidence. I think that's really what comes out on a lot of my calls. Self-love, self-confidence, anxiety associated with being out in public, wearing specific clothes, not feeling confident in those spaces and places. That comes up in pretty much every call. There was one particular individual who was like, if the people who knew me in my life saw me like this, I would run. I would literally run. If they called me and let me know I was in town, I would disappear. And if that's the case, man, that's tough. Let's work on it. Let's address it. Let's get after it. Let's not only address your challenges, your objectives, your goals, but let's make it a once and for all thing. Let's do that once and for all. Teach you everything you need to know so that you don't have to experience that anymore. Because there's nothing like running away from a relationship when we can't be with the people who we want to be with because there's something going on with us that's just too scary to hide, or it's too scary we have to hide it, or it feels too scary to us. And I want to make sure that, if you've had a call with me, I want you to know that I do hear you, I do see you, and I may not be able to relate with you as far as what you're experiencing, but I do know what it's like to have something in your life, especially physically, like even just simply taking a shirt off on the beach and want to hide it because you're just uncomfortable with it and you're afraid of what people are going to say or think. Been there, done that most of my life. So I totally get that. It wasn't until recently that I started having confidence to be totally fine with self, and that's taken some time, and it's still a journey for me. So with that being said, I wanted to say that you are able, okay, when we feel like we can, when we feel like we won't, you are able, you can. It's just a matter of taking it one step at a time. We've got our two custom packages, service and product packages, our small and our medium. Those are available as of today. It only requires to get your access to it. And whoever's in it will be in our drawing tomorrow. So I'm going to look through all my messages. I'm going to look at both YouTube and Facebook. And if I see that you've subscribed, pardon me, if you subscribe to YouTube, if you've liked our Facebook page, and you've sent me a message on Facebook saying, Ryan, I want to be in the small, Ryan, I want to be in the big, your name is going to go in, and I'm going to draw the winners tomorrow. Free. All you just have to like, subscribe, and send me your first name, last initial. I'll plug you in for the drawing, and we will draw. Now, if there is nobody, then looks like this is staying with us. The medium package is staying with us, and which reminds me, I need to go ahead and take care of that. Anyway, the small package is staying with us, and everything else is that's it. We're getting into November. By the way, tomorrow is going to be pre-recorded, so it won't be live, but it'll still be 7 p.m. I'm going to be out on a date with my wife, enjoying time together, getting away, doing a staycation away, just the two of us to get away from work and the apartment and just take some time to relax. So with that being said, this is Ryan with Project Fresh. This is our live stream on this Thursday night, October 29th. I hope you guys are having a great time, and we will see you again tomorrow and live on Monday. Until then, have a great one. Take care.